Hi friends, I'm excited to share a new layout with you today for the Shimmerz Paints design team and our October YouTube sketch hop. This is the sketch we're using. This is the team of ladies that all take a creative take on the sketch, and then this is the October 2025 Color Kitz collection that I'm going to be using from Shimmerz Paints. So I loved this sketch. I love all of the layers and the shapes and all of the different patterns that it is encouraging you to use in the photo. And so I started with some patterned paper from the Shimmerz Paints Color Kitz, the paper collection, and that patterned paper has lots of Halloween words on it, super cute in black and orange and pink, and that's really the color scheme this month in the Color Kitz is black and white and pink and orange. So I had fun going through the patterned papers in the kit this month and picking all of the patterns that I absolutely love to cut hexagons and arrange on this page to make sure that I am following along with that sketch. So I did stick very closely to the sketch. The main changes that I made, I have 3 photos instead of the 2 photos in the sketch, and then mine are vertical instead of horizontal. And then my journaling, I'm going to end up having at the bottom instead of the top. So everything else is pretty close to the way that the sketch is outlined. So I kind of laid everything out on my page and made sure that I liked where everything was going to go. And then I traced around the main patterned paper. I did cut that patterned paper 10 inches by 5 inches. And I was just guessing from the sketch. So 10 by 5 is what I ended up going with. And then here what I'm doing is I'm going and adding just a little bit of pink ink really softly behind the patterned paper before I go and add a bunch of wonderful Shimmerz Paints colors. So the first color that I'm going to be adding is Shimmerz Pinky Swear. Like a pinky swear. It's super cute. And that is a dark, beautiful, bold, vivid pink. It's one of my favorite pinks I've seen in a long time. It's almost got a hint of purple in the shimmer part of it. So it's like a pink with purple, like purple glitter as an underlying tone. It's kind of an amazing color, actually. So I put it on really thickly the first time, and then it was a little bit too dark. So, because I maybe put more than I should have on there. I should have spread it out with a little bit of water, but I got really excited about the color. So I added that, and then on top of it, I added a little bit of the Shimmerz Pinko de Mayo, which is a lighter, kind of a softer pink on top of it. And then the orange spray that I'm using here is a Vibes Pumpkin Pie. And these are all colors from the October Color Kitz. And then the tiny little pot of color that I'm using right there is a Creamies, and it's called My Clementine. So I'm going to be adding some orange from that. And I love the color combination in the kits this month, and I wanted to stick really close to, I only used colors from the Color Kitz because I loved the combination. So I took a stencil from my stash. It's an old Vicky Bouton stencil, and it's hexagons. And if you follow my channel, or if you've followed my videos for a long time, you know I love to repeat patterns. So in the sketch, the pattern that stood out to me was the hexagons. And so I went with a stencil that also had hexagons to add some ink. And I'm also going to be adding some embossing powder. So here you saw me, I took some of the Shimmerz Pinky Swear and put it out on my glass craft mat. And then I just dipped an ink foam blending tool into it and smashed it through my stencil to add the hexagons on the background. So the biggest key to make sure that when you add Shimmerz Paints through a stencil to make sure that it stays where you want it to stay is you kind of want to use a drier or not as much water. So I didn't add any water to the Shimmerz at all. I just used kind of the thick paint and added that on to my page through the stencil. If I had tried to use the Vibes like the liquid ink, that would be harder. But the Shimmerz is kind of a thicker medium, and so that works really well through a stencil. And then here what I'm doing is I just took my Versamark, I think it's Versamark. I think that's right. Yeah, Versamark adhesive pad, like a stamp pad, but it's just adhesive. And I smudged that through the same stencil. And then I added some orange embossing powder over that and then heated it up. So I've got lots of color on the background. So I've got oranges and pinks, and then I also have orange hexagons and then the pink hexagons using the Shimmerz paints. So far I've got a good little foundation there to go ahead and add all of the hexagons that are in the sketch. And what I'm going to do here, I did distress the edges of each of the hexagons that I cut, and those are cut at 1.75 inches at the widest point. So they're a little bit shorter than they are, not as tall as they are wide, and at the widest point they're 1.75 inches, so just under 2 inches. And then I did distress the edges of each of those hexagons. And then the most important thing when I was adding these on is I tried to vary the pattern and the color. So I wanted, I have 2 patterned papers that I'm using that are black and white, or mostly black and white. I have the stripes, and then I have those teeny tiny little ghosts, and they're super cute. There are some other colors in there, like little words that say blue, boo in orange and purple and white, but mostly it's just black and white pattern that you see. And then I have the orange patterned paper and the pink patterned paper. So I tried to just make sure that there were not 2 pinks next to each other or 2 of the same black and white patterns next to each other. And that just kind of helped carry the color and the pattern around the page. I did add some tangled thread in the same pink color as the patterned paper, and then also the same orange. So I've got that going on in several places on the layout. And then the hexagons, most of them I popped up on craft foam. There are a few, like that stripe, black and white stripe at the bottom. That one is flat to the background, and I don't know why. Like, I just picked some to have flat, and some, most of them are popped up. And really, I think it's just because I like how it looks when everything is not at the same level, where you have varying levels on a page. And that's really the only reason I can think of. I don't have a whole lot of other reasoning for that. So then I took my photos, I did mat those on white cardstock so that I had a kind of a white border around the photos to help them stand out. And these sweet photos are from Halloween last year. And it was kind of amazing when I got the Shimmerz Paints kits this month. My kids' Halloween costumes literally perfectly matched the kit this month. So my daughter is in a pink, varying shades of pink queen dress, and then it had accents that in real life were gold, but in all the photos they look orange. So it looks like she's in a pink and orange princess dress, and then my son is in a black and white costume. And so when I got these, the October Shimmerz kits, I just thought I had died and gone to heaven, because I was like, this is just perfect for scrapping these photos. Everything about it is just so perfect, and it's like, if I couldn't have wished for a better outcome there. So I got all of the hexagons glued down up at the top right corner. You saw that I did add a little bit more color, just a few little hints of some splatters and a little bit more pink up there. And then I did go into my stash. One of my favorite things to do for titles is to vary the fonts and the sizes and like the thicknesses. And so I did go through and I found 3 different sets of letters. The black and white word that I spelled out Spooks is a thickers, and then the teeny tiny little letters that say little, the pink and orange letters are from a Paige Evans old alpha set, and then the word happy is from actually an old Hip Kit alpha set. So my title is Happy Little Spooks. And really, I have lots of different pink alphas, lots of different orange alphas, and lots of different black ones. And so really anything that you have in your stash that kind of color coordinates would be perfect. And then I took a whole bunch of the ephemera that was in the kits this month, super cute little pieces of ephemera, and I added some of those. There's a spider web and a ghost and lollipops and candy corn and other little candy. And I added those kind of up on craft foam and kind of layered them around in 2 little clusters, or 3 little clusters. And then I also added the flare, the enamel flare that is in the color kits. So I used 2 of those. One of them says Boo, and then the other one is the orange spider up in the top right corner that is sitting on top of one of the webs. So thought that was super cute. And then in the sketch, there was some, it looked like some machine stitching, and I did some hand stitching instead down across the bottom of that patterned paper at the very, like kind of the bottom right. And then I added my journaling lines and added a whole bunch of journaling. Always have to add an extra line or 2. So I did that. And then the sequin mix that is in the kits this month is fantastic. There are ghosts and bats and spiders and spider webs and all different kinds of little pink and orange sequins. It was so fabulous, and I had so much fun digging into that. So I added a little ghost next to the little ephemera ghost that's up there on the top of the photos. And then there was a little web sequin, I guess, spider web, and I added that kind of on the other side of that spider flare, and then a whole bunch of little sequins all over. And then here I'm taking my pops of color in the same pink and orange as the pattern papers and just adding a few little more details there, and that is the final layout. I had such a great time making this layout and following along with this sketch. It made it so easy to decide what I was going to do on the layout, and it was perfect for all of the patterns and the colors that are in the Shimmerz Paints kits this month. So I hope you will check those out. Remember, if you place a Shimmerz order, if you put Sarah Millerhouse down in the comment section, you will get a free gift with your order. And I hope you guys have a great time creating, and I hope you will check out all of the other ladies in our sketch shop because there's lots of creativity there. Bye for now.